This lad's discussions meme is...
Intruder, identify yourself.
If you wish to send us memes, just so you can get a shout out at the start of these videos, be sure to send them to our Twitter handles. Alright then. 3, 2, 1. Ready, Bob? This is literally the first episode. Well, I mean, technically not, but the first one, man. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lads Discuss Death Battle. We're keeper to traditions. Barbara likes to interrupt my intros. Joining me is your only mate.
Hey.
And joined us, joined of us as well is Sean.
I see we have a little bit of a small hiccup on our hands today, don't we?
Oh man, very tempted to do a take 2, but no, people find it funny. Fuck it. Yes, people, Lads Discuss Death Battle's back. Not a crossover this time, so it's actually just the lads talking about Death Battle. With Steve the Elephant, we can't forget about him.
Nope.
But before we get on to the season premiere, that it's public knowledge now, like, the episode's come out and it's been revealed, right?
Yeah. It was revealed on Twitter the day after cast or so last week.
Alright then, good. I mean, granted, even if it wasn't, I would have saved this episode until it was publicly revealed. Before we get to the premiere, though, people, I've got the... Oh, I really don't want to read this out. The results from our drip poll from last discussion.
Oh, yay!
So, just for the shits and giggles, and plus I want to start doing that, just randomly making up polls depending on what is discussed in the podcast, I decided, hey, who has the better drip, but aka avatar design, out of all 4 of us, including Steve the Elephant? In last place, Billy Bobby. And you guys are subscribed to me. How dare you?
I think they prefer your voice over your avatar, man.
Oh, poor old Jack. Oh yeah, might as well say, yeah, my avatar's character's called Jack. There you are.
Really? He's got Jack squatted in the drip department.
Fuck you, Sean. Alright then, but this is surprising. When I was checking it today, we have a tie between Steve the Elephant and your only mate.
Wow.
I was like...
That is kind of surprising.
I could have sworn this said, like... I mean, I didn't check it regularly, but I thought for this episode I might as well go back and check it. But yes, but with that said, the winner is Sean. He has the best drip.
Hooray!
Fuck you.
Thank you to my boy Joey, aka Blue Mage Artist on Twitter.
Yeah, but you know, we can also give shout outs to AG No Such for Mate's design. And
None such.
None Such. I'm sorry, I'm bad at reading names. And I'll give a shout out to Zach, who designed my character Jack for this image. And I guess we'll give a shout out to... Do you know what, Sean? When you found the Steve the Elephant model, where did you find it?
I'm pretty sure it was Marvel Comics.
Marvel Comics made Steve the Elephant.
I believe so. I can double check.
I'll check it when I'm editing this. I'll put it on screen. We also got some comments that I thought, let's give them a little readout. First comment, this is also from the chat as well. Star Shock, but probably our biggest viewer. I almost missed a boat on Gravity Falls, but my bro wrote me into just in time. Yeah, Gravity Falls is a really good show. It's only got 2 seasons, so honestly, you can actually binge them in a day. Like, the episodes aren't long at all. They're like typical cartoon like length. So I'm actually happy, Star Shock, you managed to see it just on time. From Yang the Insane, Bill, stop singing. No. I will stop singing.
They did not like your singing, did they?
No, people just don't like my voice.
By the way, Bill, here is where Steve is from.
All right.
I'm gonna paste it while you continue.
All right then. From Brobuscus. Now, I'm not sure if he was responding to the chat or if he was responding to us giving our opinions on underrated death battles. You're okay to be wrong. It's fine. Oh, it's good to know that you're completely okay of always being wrong on your episodes, Brobuscus. So, we have equal understanding. People, before you get offended, we're friends, we banter, it's fine. Final comment from Anthony3953, because for some reason YouTube doesn't like showing the YouTube names anymore, just the ads. The Chosen Undead does have something canonical up his sleeve. The ability to come back to life, try again and again until succeeded. It's the basis of all Dark Souls born games. Try, die, repeat until successfully conquering an enemy. True, but I think for death battle's sake, once the Chosen Undead is dead in battle, that's it. They're technically dead. Yes, they could come back, but I mean, technically, the Dragonborn could come back from his save state.
Yeah, I don't think we've really seen how they handle characters who can just respawn. Closest I think we got was Sun Wukong.
Yeah. Plus, souls still go brr. But yeah, we'll see how they do that episode. I'm pretty excited for it. But I guess now we should actually move on to an episode which, I won't lie, I have a little bit of excitement for. Ant-Man versus Atom. Or is it Atom versus Ant-Man? Does it really fucking matter?
Ant-Man versus Atom.
Makes sense. Ant-Man's name is... Despite his third movie bombing at the box office, which, just saying, underrated film, it was actually alright. Yeah. But to be clear, though, this is Hank Pym's Ant-Man versus... which version of...
Raymond Palmer, Atom.
Yeah. Okay, people, I don't know too much about Atom. I have seen him in the Justice League animated show, but... Truth be told, if I had to say which one of these two characters I like, I grew up with Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes. Hank Pym and Scott Lang in that are just... They're brilliant characters. Atom, I've seen some of his dialogue in the Injustice 2 game and, some of his other scenes. It's like, yeah, he's alright, but I just feel like Hank Pym and Scott are just so much more relatable. And also, I think the Ant-Man films are also underrated MCU movies. They're just stories within the MCU. They're not trying to... Well, aside the third one, they're just their own stories set in this universe. But I feel like, just like Hawkeye versus Green Arrow, this was just a death battle between Marvel and DC that was inevitably going to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of Marvel versus DC like that. There's Hawkeye, Green Arrow, Bullseye v Deadshot, Catwoman versus Black Cat.
I'll be amazed if they don't do that. It's just like, okay, come on.
No, we'll never know what those
I'm just trying to think of the ones that are left.
I mean,
I wish they did Joker. I wish they did Joker versus Green Goblin, though. That would have been good.
I would actually like that. I love both those villains, so it doesn't matter who dies or who lives in that. But I'll be excited to talk about that.
By the way, I do have the writer, director, and both researchers for this episode.
Ooh, read them out, Shawnee Poo.
Okay, first of all, fuck you.
We had to get one for the first episode. Yeah!
God damn it. Is this a new thing? I hope not.
No, I'm not going to spam it. I just, it's the first episode where it's just us and not, having someone else in the group chat. So it's like,
writing... So it was confirmed on cast that writing and directing this episode will be Josh
Whedon?
No.
Can you imagine?
Oh, Josh Whedon. That'd be funny.
He just makes Ant-Man go between Wonder Woman's cleavage. Like, but wait, she's not even in this fight. It's like, it's funny. Is it really? I feel like it's a bit uncomfortable.
Well, speaking of Ant-Man, researching him will be Kirby Kid, who normally gets the horror characters.
I mean...
I'm not kidding. He did Myers and Predator last year.
Wow. Wait, did you say Alien and Predator?
Myers.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying Alien vs Predator last year. I'm just like, did I wake up in an alternative reality? Because I'm pretty sure it's Boba Fett versus Predator.
And and researching Adam is everyone's favorite Street Fighter character, Akuma.
I'm just picturing Akuma and Kirby just opposite ends of the room on their laptops, like, oh, I'm gonna research the crap out of this. Bye.
Yes, we can go get donuts afterwards.
Oh, that is actually kind of cute. I want to see fan art of that. I'm just like picturing they mess up Kirby's order. Akuma just goes, he wanted jam donuts. Don't make me come back.
No, it would be that he said no pickles meme.
That actually would be hilarious. Season premiere, and it won't be happening till May 22nd.
Yeah, so even though we're kind of talking about this maybe a little bit too early, people, we got plenty of lads content coming out in the future, you know, some that might be Among Us. And also some quote-unquote offensive videos coming out. I use that quotation mark. But
I don't get
it. You know.
Anyway.
Yeah, so Ant-Man's first, so who is the Ant-Man? Well, he's a man, and he talks to ants. Thank you for watching, everybody. Da, 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 da. Okay, no, there's a...
Oh, there's more. There's more to it than that.
Yeah.
Ant-Man, from what I remember, was like always that side character, and then when he got his own movie, it became a really big hit, and Ant-Man became a lot more popular.
Oh.
But that wasn't the Ant-Man that we're going to be discussing.
No, it's Hank Pym, the OG Ant-Man, who is the scientist supreme, as stated by Eternity itself.
So we have a sorcerer supreme and a scientist supreme. What's next? The Starbucks supreme?
And he's the creator of Ultron, not Tony and Bruce.
Yeah, so people, forget everything you know about the MCU, because people need to realize this. The MCU's drastically changed a lot of their characters' origins. However, Hank Pym, now I want to correct Sean on this, he wasn't a side character actually. Or just the Ant-Man character. He was one of the founding members of the Avengers. So, yeah, it was... So, the MCU got it kind of right, but originally in the comic it was Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, the Wasp, and Ant-Man. Hank Pym's Ant-Man. Bloody hell, I'm already fucking up this
Okay,
episode.
but where's Deckman?
Deckman.
So, so obviously I'm not too familiar with his comic books. I didn't really have enough time to research everything about Hank Pym for this particular episode. I was more focused on Atom, and oh boy, I need to do a mini rant about when I was researching him. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I was more so saying because like the MCU didn't really focus on Hank, they focused on Scott.
Yeah.
So, mate, I want your honest opinion because you've seen the Ant-Man movies. What's the biggest difference between Hank and Scott?
Hank knows this science, while as Scott is just like, do you guys just put quantum in front of everything?
Honestly, yeah.
Although, as I found out in the comics, turns out the Lang lineage, so like Scott, Cassie, and all that, they actually have a better like connection to the Pym particle than Hank does for some reason.
Okay.
Even though Hank's the guy who created the damn things.
You
Okay.
know, I would question that, but this is comics, so I'm not going to.
No, actually, I am going to question that, because May was the one who actually did research on this. So, I only know about Hank Pym from the animated the animated series. And they took a lot from the comics, from what I can tell. But please go into more details about how is it the very thing that Hank created values Scott more.
I don't know, I guess we need like a Pym particle version of the Flash meme. It's the Pym particle. I ain't gonna explain shit.
No, no. You need to explain it. You researched it.
Well, wait. I think the way I'm going to interpret this, it's like the MCU fans. They prefer Scott over Hank.
Plus, it's just to do with like all the science like behind ants and all the properties that various different species have.
Why do I get the feeling that Death Battle is going to do a more in-depth analysis on the different kinds of ants?
Not shock me.
Well, with Hank, we know the Pym particles can like grow and enlarge him.
And it's specifically blue that enlarges. Have fun with that.
Huh.
No
Insert
comment.
obvious no joke here.
Wow, my jokes are subtle.
So,
About as solid as a brick to the face.
Well, I mean, Bricky Dave is pretty useless at hurting me. He couldn't even hurt a zombie in The Last of Us. He tries. He tries.
Then again, I'm about as subtle as a punch to the face with various things, so...
okay.
Now you die.
yeah.
You're 50-50. Sometimes you smash it, as in, like, a good joke. Other times we're just there like, what? So,
No, I'm just like, don't worry about it.
perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
So, Hank made the Pym particles for himself, I imagine, right? At first?
Yeah, so the thing about Hank is that you would think, okay, is he doing this to save the day? No, he's a scientist. He's always looking for ways to, like, improve. It's just that over time, he then started to become a hero. But most of the time, he was just mostly just interested in his research. Like, how can he make his, like, equipment better than it already is? I mean, for God's sake, if you can literally shrink down to you in another universe, then surely you've peaked.
Oh yeah, the quantum realm.
Yeah. Well, apparently,
What?
yeah, the quantum. Okay, so the quantum realm and the Marvel Comics version is a bit weird, but let's go into more about his tools actually.
Yeah, I'll just give you a TLDR. Basically, he can like shrink down so much he ends up in a different universe.
And Am is actually the same. I found that out as well. Just because comic books.
Okay, yeah, I'm just like, what the fuck?
Well, actually,
Then again, considering how smart he is, considering he made Ultron, I'm not surprised in the slightest.
yeah. Well, actually, I do want to present a fun fact. People do believe if you were to continue, this is like an old school theory, that if you were to carry on shrinking, you could theoretically enter a whole new universe. That's quantum physics has always been like a theory. Like, could there be another universe if we were to just expand or shrink? But obviously, we're maybe 1,000 years in technology before we can just shrink a human being down like in comics. So yeah, let's not try that for now. Plus, do we really want
And speaking of let's not, there's something else about Hank that we know is going to get brought up in the episode, more than most likely.
Yeah.
Do we rip the band-aid off?
Is it
For my sake, please.
about Thanos, out of curiosity?
No, it's him beating his wife.
Oh, that.
I wasn't actually
I had
aware
no
of
idea
this.
about
Oh yeah, no, he was a wife beater.
Oh,
that. Wow.
okay then. Man, the Ant-Man and Wasp
With that
and
kind of intelligence,
the
I
one
was
in
gonna say, with that kind of intelligence, you'd think he would have decency in relationship status.
yeah, like I'm just going by Earth Mightiest Heroes. Ant-Man and the Wasp in that were like a really cute couple. Wasp was adventurous, a bit of a risk taker, whereas Hank was the more level-headed one, but equally like on a bit of that troublemaker scale. So, man, my heroes kind of. I think I definitely prefer the MCU and Earth Mightiest Heroes version over the comics. It seems. Yeah, I'll put that on screen, people. Yep. He's a Yellow Jacket. Okay, is there some context to this? Like, was he being brainwashed?
Oh yeah, no. So Hank has been the Yellow Jacket before. He also took up the mantle of Wasp at one point.
Fair enough. Comics Ant-Man's weird.
Comic books.
I suppose so.
Just, yeah.
Well, I imagine as a founding Avenger, I'm sure he's done a lot of impressive stuff, right?
Yeah, I've also been trying to like find respect threads, but they don't really come up with a whole lot,
Yeah.
which is frustrating and does not help with the whole feel. You know what? I'm not going to go into that.
Well, I am curious because I do want to ask you guys this. Do you think it would be fair to scare Hank to Scott?
I would
I
say
honestly don't
so.
see any reason why you shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, similar technology. It's just that Scott is just able to use it more effectively, I guess. So, if this is, if I'm assuming this is the Wasp he's slapping, so the Wasp is capable of outrunning the Hulk, or I guess outflying against the Hulk, after she flashed her boobs in his face. I'm not kidding, that actually happened in the Ultimate Universe. So to get the Hulk's attention, the Wasp flashed her tits at him and the Hulk started chasing her.
Well, to be fair, I think any straight man would be distracted by that.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, if you were to look at how people see the Wasp, not the MCU one, but the comic book one and the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, yeah, she's a bit of a waifu crush from a lot of people. But yeah, that was a very the Ultimate Marvel Universe is weird. Though if none of you have ever read the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, I recommend them. They are fucking awesome. And dark as hell. There are some dark ones. But
we know he can keep up with the Wasp. What else is there, do you think,
well,
that would be of note?
The thing I do know is he's capable of matching Captain America in hand-to-hand combat, because during the time Ant-Man was coming out, it was during World War II, I believe. So, and in fact, they do reference that in the MCU, that he was also present during after World War II, dealing with Hydra agents. And given the fact they have fought in hand-to-hand combat, we already know Captain America's pretty efficient in multiple fighting styles. I think it's kind of fair to say, like, okay, so he can match, like, skilled fighters like Captain America, who managed to beat Iron Fist on multiple occasions. Whether that's due to pure being stronger than him or being better martial artist, you take your pick, but I still think that's a bragging right. What other tools does he have, though?
Or do you want to say that for the debate aspect of this one?
Well, I guess so, but yeah, okay. Should we spent like I think a good old 20 minutes on Hank Pym. We're obviously going to talk more on it. So I guess we'll talk about the Atom now, specifically the Rayman.
Is that cool with you, Mick? Because I'm interested about this one. Because I've only known the Atom as Ryan Choi.
Okay, this is where I wanted to do my mini rant. So, when this episode was announced, we all, in our little Discord chat, mate went off to do Ant-Man, because he's more familiar with Marvel. I was somewhat familiar with Atom, but I don't really care for Atom as much. I've not seen him in many material. 1 second. Oh, I had a frog in my throat. His name was Kermit.
Are you sure you didn't have an Ant-Man in your throat? Are you sure you didn't have an Ant-Man in your throat?
Oh, I guess that was one way to get him in there. Okay, maybe Sean's right. Maybe my jokes are pretty not very subtle.
You think?
Okay, so yeah. So when I clicked on a wiki page just to get an idea who Atom was, to try and find comic books and stuff like that, I found 6 different Atoms. Not like, oh, is this Captain Atom? Is this Mistress Atom? No, they're all literally called the Atom. So I had to pretty much go through, right, let me look on wikis and find this one. And even I constantly had to go back onto the last thing, like, okay, are we sure this is the one that's coming to Death Battle? And it's like, yep. And I'm just like, okay, good. But for the sake of it, I did look into the other Atoms just to get an idea of this game, because from what I've been told, though, all their tools work exactly the same. It's just that the suit gets passed on. But anything...
And I imagine if we're going to give Hank ideas that, Scott has done with the Pym particles, it would be fair to say that Ray can do that with the other wielders of the Atom suit, like Ryan.
Yeah, because the suits literally are the same. It's just that they get passed on, and they've all just do the exact same thing. Shrink, grow, literally mess with atoms. I've seen some versions of the Atom literally riding on atoms. So you know how Ant-Man rides on wasps and stuff like that? Atom literally messes on atoms, and he can increase the size of atoms and use them as weapons. I'm like, sure, okay.
Why does it sound like a complicated Yu-Gi-Oh fight between Weevil and Professor Alistair?
Yeah, I mean, heck, in one of his intros in Injustice 2, he's literally juggling atoms in his hands. So it's like...
Well, apparently the Injustice 2 one was Ryan.
Right, yeah, but the suit can also do that. Like, as long as you have the suit on Atom Force or whatever. Right, so Specifically, Raymond was the original Atom, but not only that, he was also one of the original Justice Leagues of America. So similar to Ant-Man, you know, he was one of the OGs. But obviously, Atom didn't really spark with a lot of people. And honestly, I can kind of see why, because he is your generic nerdy type of smart ass, really. Like, people, if you like Atom, I'm not dissing him. Like, I'm sure there's some interpretations where he's really funny. I still find it... Am I getting this wrong? Is the one voice in Atom in Injustice 2, Sean, isn't that the same one who voices Kung Lao?
I can double check that while you go
Yeah,
on.
because I can't remember who it was that told me, but someone was saying like, oh yeah, that's Kung Lao voice in Atom. And I'm just like, that's just funny. You go from a rash fighter like Kung Lao to the most intellect man in DC. And yes, that's a bragging right. Atom is said to be one of the most intelligent characters in DC. Even outsmarting Darkseid, which he's a pretty smart boy. But the other thing that's kind of funny about him, he does have villains, but he's also one of the few heroes when he was first coming out where it was public knowledge who Atom was. And I'm just thinking to myself like, then why does he wear a mask? Kind of defeats the whole...
So, here's the correction for you, Bill. In MK11, he voiced Fujin and Liu Kang. The Kung Lao argument was based off the animated movie.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, that's still funny though. Freaking Liu Kang. that's still pretty funny to me. But yeah, so he's one of the original like members of the Justice League, and from everything I've read about him, he's not a terrible character. He has some pretty cool fights. I do like the fact that his suit is literally right underneath like his base normal clothing. So when he has to save the day, he just shrinks, and he just shrinks out of his outfit. I don't know why, that's kind of funny.
That's clever.
Yeah. Hold on,
yeah.
let me get an image of that. Let me
Kind of
just...
reminds me of, you know, how Superman does the phone booth into his outfit deal.
Oh, classic, man. Listen, James Gunn, if you're watching this, which is very unlikely, that needs to happen in your Superman movie. Also, I just found it online. Yeah, see? he literally just... He does the pose and just... I don't know why, that just makes me laugh. Like, that's such a clever way to get into a superhero suit.
So, we were talking about Hank has Pym particles, but what does exactly make Atom with his powers?
So, I'm not sure how they described it on the wikis, but essentially the suit just basically shrinks for him. He doesn't need any sort of fuel source of anything like that. He can just, hey, guess what? And just like Ant-Man though, he can keep on shrinking till he's in the microverse.
Is that a universe full of microwaves and microscopes?
Oh god, I feel like Solid Snake's gonna have a hard time down there.
Nah, he'll be fine.
But I do find it funny how Marvel and DC always have characters that are so stupid similar, but they have to do small things so they can get around it. Like Ant-Man's like, oh, we can't have the microverse, quantum realm. It's like, oh, it works. But yeah, so as far as like how his powers work is similar to Ant-Man. When he shrinks, he still keeps a lot of his strength within like his human form. But he can do all sorts of outlandish things, like lift a man right off his feet as in his tiny form. And he can also, just like Ant-Man, he can grow just whenever he wants to. Though there are some contradictions. There are some comic books where apparently he says he can't grow, but then later on a new one gets the suit and they grow. And I don't think it got expanded on unless someone can prove me wrong, because I tried to find out if it's consistent or it's just like a one-time thing. My goodness, man, I need a drink. So I'm not sure whether that's an inconsistent thing, but I think they might bring it in because it does label as one of his abilities on like Wikipedia's and respect threads I've been reading, and even some comics I've seen him grow big. So, you know, whether they take it or not, I don't think it really matters though, because even when he's super tiny, he can like punch Superman in the face and actually daze him. Like, that's a bit of a bragging, right?
Now, I remember this, actually, when I was looking a bit into these two. You can confirm this for me, Bill. Apparently, Atom has a power ring.
I couldn't find anything about a power ring, I'm afraid. But
So, according to this, he was a member of the Indigo tribe and possessed an Indigo power ring.
I'm not too familiar with this. But if that's the case, then cool.
Apparently, unlike, fear and willpower, this one is fueled by compassion.
Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, people, like, I will stress people, like, we didn't go deep into these two, but I thought I found enough that I can come with some sort of answer who I think wins. But
Well, I am curious, what has Adam done?
right, so,
I get told some things, and I'm not exactly sure.
right then, so I guess it's time to talk about a lot of feats of, because I went over all the other atoms just to get an idea. Right then, so Raymond is a bit of an interesting one because how his atom works is that he can just keep on shrinking whenever he wants to, and in doing so, he can enter multiple universes. He doesn't have gadgets like Hank though. He mostly just relies on using like the atoms as like projectiles if he needs to, but he also serves on them to be like mobile in the air, which is pretty clever. I'm just picturing how they're going to do this fight, to be honest. Like, there is a lot of madness that can proceed.
It's going to be a visual heavy fight.
Yeah.
Can you imagine at some point it starts as a giant fight, and then when they take each other down, they start shrinking just to save a few buildings?
That would actually be quite clever. Now, in terms
I honestly think they're going to shrink, go into the quantum realm or microverse, whichever. They're going to, like, go through that and then go through other death battles.
That would be quite fun. I can actually see that being fun. I'm just picturing like maybe when Thor throws his hammer at Vegeta, they're fighting on top of it. And then as soon as Vegeta stops it, the momentum launches them off.
Or what if they're in Harley Jinx and they look at the Harley Jinx coaster about to run them over, then they get the fuck out of there?
Or they land on top of it, go through Blake versus Mikasa, then end up in the place that we never found out what it was.
How did I know we were going to bring that one up?
Let's be real here, Sean. We're not subtle.
No, but that could be a lot. That could be very cool.
So the things I was looking up about Atom, he's pretty skilled in hand-to-hand combat. Apparently he's helped out the Bat family quite a few times, even teamed up with Batman on one occasion. He's teamed up with the Justice League. He helped in during the Crisis, the Infinite. I can't remember what it's called. When the DC universes and multiverses were colliding. But yeah, he was. He fought in that, and I think if I remember, he was like. He survived like a planet exploding. Like essentially, when the planet was like colliding, he managed to escape it just by shrinking. I'm not sure if that actually counts as a durability feat because. It wasn't him tanking a planet. It was just him like, fuck this shit, I'm out. But obviously, he got rebooted. I'm pretty sure Raymond got rebooted. He's not like one of the few characters that are the same from pre-Crisis. Crisis on Infinity Earths, I remember it now. He's taken on at one point he managed to save Shazam. And then get his Captain Marvel powers back, which are very interesting. I guess he can. I guess anyone can hold the Shazam power. I mean, if Harley Quinn could, then. As far as his like combat is proceeds, though, like the only character I could really find that I guess you could be a big bragging right at similar level of Iron Fist is that he managed to win a fight against Deathstroke, who in turn Batman says is his equal and. If anyone remembers the Death Battle, they showed that Batman's mastered every fighting style. So, again, similar to Captain America versus Iron Fist, it's a bragging right. Like, you managed to defeat a character who even Batman says is a difficult opponent.
You know, I'm not surprised that this one is hard to call because of how similar these two are.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they do this, because
I've actually heard something.
Oh yeah?
So it basically depends on what you give Hank. Because stat-wise and everything they can do, they should be about even. But if we give Hank... Sorry, it's weird to describe with the Pym particles. It was described to me as like all the different axes, but that word.
That
like
word.
the x-axis, y, and z. Apparently, he's only used one, whereas Scott and the Langs have used the others. But the Pym particles have been used to like give those axes to other characters too.
Well, for that argument,
Interesting.
I'm going to say this.
Basically,
Go ahead.
if we give Hank access to all of that, the fight is pretty much even across the board, but Hank just about wins due to the whole Scientist Supreme shit. But if you don't, then Atom takes it.
Right, because, okay, so here's the thing that I want to go with, like, because if we really had to compare, like, the scope of their... Because I think it's also going to come down to the scope of their competition. So obviously, even though Atom is part of the Justice League, though, he's not fought many of the villains one-on-one. He's just more so the person that usually tries to help out during, like, situations. Sort of like a support. Like, you know, if there's a robot, he'll shrink down to see if he can destroy it from the inside and stuff like that. But even though he can throw down, thankfully not with any of his mistresses, as far as I'm aware, he has shown he can keep up with characters like Batman and Superman in fighting. I think it's also said he managed to keep up with Wonder Woman, but that's a bit of a... I'm not sure about how much I should take into consideration, because when Wonder Woman gets serious, she can keep up with Thorn, you know, the Reverse Flash. So it's like, that's when she's serious. Like, how were they fighting? That's the thing I try to find. Like, sure, is it a bragging... Sure, like, just training with an Amazon is impressive, but I don't... This is the problem I always have with scaling in a way. It's like, can you really say he's on par with Wonder Woman when their power levels are just on a whole different level?
Oh, in which case, you're going to hate something I found for Hank.
Oh, yeah?
Well, here's what I'm going to say when it comes to scaling for these two. I think if you want to scale them, it makes more sense to scale the technology, what they're capable of in the other hands of other people, because that just shows that the technology can do the same thing for the past owner.
I suppose it's fair. I mean, personally, I do like Hank more, but that's just my bias from the cartoon I watched as a kid. But after hearing
the cartoon and movies.
But after hearing the stuff about the combat, I'm sure they've changed it so Hank's not a wife beater. But it's kind of hard to root for him. Plus, he created Ultron. Like, that's already, like, at least in the cartoon, he did it to try and help people. Whereas I think in the comics he was just lazy, or he couldn't be bothered always saving people, so that's why he built Ultron.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of like Marvel characters have been changed since. Like, hell, there was a old comic of Reed Richards saying that wives are for kissing, not talking.
Oh,
yeah.
I need to look that up.
No joke. That is a thing, and that's what inspired Dr. Briefs in Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Oof.
Wow.
So, another thing about the whole Axis thing that May brought up before we get into the 60 seconds. You said Hank only used one, right?
Yeah.
With the Access thing, even if it's that one, is that something Hank made?
Well, yeah, he created the Pym particle.
Actually, going over his abilities, this was actually something I forgot to bring up. So, apparently, similar to how, like, the Flash, he has complete stability of his atoms. So, if you try to alter his atoms, he just says, fuck you, basically. So, that's going to be kind of interesting, because does Hank have a similar defense?
Annoyingly, I haven't been able to find anything because all these respect threads are super bare bones, and it really angers me.
That's really surprising.
I can imagine.
Because I found a lot on Atom.
There's a lot to go over, I feel like, and it's a hard call, but maybe the 60 seconds will convince one of us that one person wins.
Alright then, so I guess since it is Ant-Man versus the Atom. I don't know why I keep saying it like that. The Atom doesn't really have a dramatic name, he's just a nerd.
I think you're just trying to make it a more dramatic name because, let's be honest, Adam is not that good of a name compared to Ant-Man.
It also just sounds like you're trying to do a Dio impression.
Yo, Tom
I want
Cook is
to,
Adam.
I
That's
want
funny.
to rule the quantum realm!
Wrong series, Theo.
Oh, why didn't I say the quantum world, man? Missed opportunity. God damn
All
it.
right. So with it being Ant-Man versus Adam, mate, you let me know when you're ready.
Alright, I can wing this.
Okay,
You've done it before. Hey, you've done it before, and 2 out of the 4 characters you've done have won, so
that's true.
you have that.
Yeah,
And they were
sure,
both Marvel
so winging
and they were
it
both
is just the strategy.
they were both Marvel characters that won, and you won it for.
Oh, third time's the charm.
All right, 3, 2, 1, begin.
Okay, so Ant-Man is going to win. He is Hank Pym, dubbed the Scientist Supreme by Eternity itself, who is essentially the embodiment of the freaking multiverse. He's so smart, he's able to create, and I quote, an infinitely sized mansion in a higher plane of existence. How? Not to mention, he's creator of the revolutionary Pym particle, which shifts matters between dimensions. However the hell that works. He was trained by Captain America, good in hand-to-hand. He can, shrink down to an impossible size, mess up your atoms. And in terms of durability, he has actually taken blows from Eternity itself. Yes, the embodiment of the multiverse punched him in the face, and he survived.
Time is up.
That's a good one to go on. That is actually pretty impressive. I couldn't find anything like that for Atom.
Damn, mate. Bringing out the big guns.
Alright then.
All right, Bill, do you think you have a good argument for why Atom wins?
Yeah, I think I can make a somewhat convincing argument for Atom's sake. But
Okay.
I've already decided on my decision. Even before this one, though, I already decided on my winner, or who I think's going
All
to win.
right. In 3, 2, 1, begin.
Atom may be a bit of a nerd, but he is not someone to scoff at. He's capable of matching a lot of, the Justice League in terms of hand-to-hand combat, including Batman, who many have gone on to say he is the best fighter in all the multiverse. He's capable of hurting Superman with a punch after shrinking so small. He can increase his, molecules to, increase his strength, even if at normal human size. He can travel between multiverses just instantly, just by shrinking. He's capable of, surfing on atoms and even messing with your atoms on a molecular level. And you can't really mess with his atoms because he has control over them thanks to his suit. He doesn't rely on fuel as well. So I feel like while his chances might not be as big as his competitions, I don't think it's a small chance he'll lose either.
Alrighty. All right, 7 seconds left.
Tiny dicks.
Interesting arguments from both sides. I
Yeah.
will say that.
It's
The whole
gonna
eternity thing is interesting.
it's interesting, but I do kind of think though, Atom has also dealt with characters on a similar level as that character, Darkseid.
Yeah, so we can put them about even.
Yeah, I guess since we've talked about this for let me just check my OBS, 45 minutes. All right, so
Yeah, it's gonna be like Wonder Zatanna, where they're just so even it comes to super tiny details. Appropriate.
I see what you did there. But I'm going to give
Yeah.
a big shocker about who I'm going for. I was originally going to go with Ant-Man when this was first announced. Bias, I know, I'm a bit of a biased bitch. But looking into all the atoms, and given the fact... Oh, this is actually I just found in my notes as well. Apparently, his suit can match the wrath of a dwarf star. I was like, okay then. That's kind of interesting. But I didn't feel like bringing that up because it's like, okay, he's dealt with foes like Darkseid, so is that really as impressive? I'm going with Atom because I just think the ability that his suit can resist a lot of that sort of degree, like you can't mess with his molecular structure or his atoms because he just is that much in control of them. And I feel like that is going to be Hank's main thing. He's going to try and like maybe shrink him or mess with his atoms to try and kill him. But Atom can resist that. And Ant-Man, as far as I'm aware, has not shown that his suit can resist that similar thing. In fact, I'm pretty sure the Yellow Jacket in the comics, who had a similar Pym particle as him, when his suit got damaged, he couldn't resist the Pym particles. And now, unlike in the movie, which I'm not going to reveal what happened to him in the new film, but yeah, it didn't do that to him. But once he got his suit damaged, he just kept on shrinking until he inevitably died, quote unquote. Whereas Atom, you can keep shrinking him, he'll keep surviving. He's even said he can shrink for eternity. Whereas Ant-Man does have a limit. If he kept on shrinking and growing, he's going to run out of fuel. So I think Atom just has the advantage in terms of like being able to deal with, big control of his atoms, and also the fact his suit doesn't run on fuel as far as I am aware. I could be wrong, because like I said, people, this was just like, 2 weeks of research, so I probably missed something, but yeah, the suit doesn't really have a limited usage, so he can keep on shrinking and growing like he's Viagra or something. Come on, we had to get a dick joke out there eventually, man.
God damn it.
Oh boy.
So I'm going with Atom, but what is your only mate going with? Is he going to stick to his gun?
I mean, personally, I'm kind of neutral. If you put a gun to my head and made me choose, I would want Ant-Man to win just because of familiarity. But
Your familiarity.
Thing is, there's kind of a consensus when it comes to Marvel and DC in Death Battle. If it's like the higher tier, then usually DC, because they're a bit more outlandish. And let's be real, they're bred in a lab to be overpowered. Whereas Marvel, it's more so the street level characters who have just that bit more of an edge, at least on average. I don't know exactly where I'd put Ant-Man in that regard, because the Eternity thing just makes me think, okay, so that's a higher tier thing.
It's a tricky one. I think this will be on the level of Zatanna versus Scarlet Witch. It is going to come down to the small detail.
Yeah, if it's going to come down to the small detail, I kind of want to say Hank, just because of the whole, like, Scientist Supreme thing. And it's just like, how do you construct an infinitely sized mansion?
I mean, is that really an it's an impressive feat, but combat-wise, I don't think that's too impressive.
I know, but, like, it's a testament to how smart he is.
Yeah, it really does.
So if they're, like, that equal in terms of, like, stats and everything, then it would just come down to, yeah, he's smart enough to figure something out.
Yeah, so you're 100%
It's not much, but for the sake of, like, this, I guess I'll go with Ant-Man, but personally, I don't know, and I'm honestly good either way.
Oh, okay.
Right then, so, Shawnee boy, you are the deciding factor. Cue drum roll, Plankton.
So this was a very complicated thing to get into. You both brought up a lot of points. To Ant-Man's credit, he is definitely smarter, I would argue. And say what you will about Deathstroke, but being on par with Captain America, I think is a lot more impressive.
Really? A character that's mastered every fighting
Yeah.
style even says Deathstroke's dangerous?
Deathstroke has armor that regenerates. Cap doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
So while Hank, I think, is kind of like Pietro in the sense where he has the better combat prowess. Even if Hank figures out, he can mess possibly with his atoms, if Atom does have full control of that, then that's a counter. And then the whole, like, Z-axis thing we were talking about, it's possible Atom could avoid it by shrinking beyond that.
Yeah, you can shrink infinitively. That's a word I just said. Write it down, people.
So, if Atom, from what I've been told, is true, that he can keep up with Reverse Flash,
Well,
then it's possible he can shrink faster than the Z-axis could hit him.
okay, I will say, the only reason people say that is because he's trained with Wonder Woman, and again, I'm still iffy on that. I would more so, like, if he can punch Superman, I think that's enough to at least give him maybe a light speed feat, because the fact Superman didn't see that is impressive. Considering his vision is, he can see across, like, multiple galaxies.
He can... Well, he used Wonder Woman's sword to, like, split an atom. Like, he's able to see at that level.
Yeah, so the fact Atom managed to punch him in the face, and Superman's like, what?
And also, another thing is that Ant-Man's definitely more versatile with his gadgets.
The problem is, though, I think a lot of his gadgets rely on messing with the atoms, since Atom will have control over his atoms. He's just essentially throwing little bits of metal at him, really, which, I mean, it will hurt. I'm not saying metal thrown at you wouldn't hurt.
Despite the slight edges in intelligence and better combat going in Hank's favor, as well as versatility, I think the fact that Ant-Man doesn't have a perfect counter to Atom might give the win to Atom, so I'm gonna go with Atom.
Alright then. 2 Atoms and 1 Ant-Man. Who will be right? We will see on our new ranking. Who won last year? It was Sean, wasn't it?
I won by 1.
He won by 1, people. So maybe that will change this year. Maybe either me or Mate will get the win. We tied on the first lad season, didn't we?
Yeah, we all got a tie. But the thing I'm also concerned with, as Mate brought up earlier, he's winged it on every character, and half of them have won, 2 of them being Marvel characters.
Yeah, so it could be another case where he gets it right. If he does, then...
If that's the case, then we need to drop any argument we're going to put Mate against when it comes to Marvel versus somebody.
Do you know what, next time he wings it with another Marvel character, I'm just going to be like, look, I'm sided with Mate, even though I'm pretty confident in the other character, but just for safety reasons.
What if I just say they win?
God damn, that convinces me. Yeah, Iron Fist definitely beats Poe now. Thanks, Mate.
Yeah, it's with a Marvel character. But yeah, so I don't think we have anything else to say about it. I'm excited for this. I'm wondering what it's going to be. I think it's going to be sprites. I have a good feeling it's going to be sprite animation.
Yeah, I feel like it will be.
All I know is Louise hyped up the death for this one on Twitter.
Ooh, it's probably going to be brutal.
I'm just expecting, like, they just use the quantum realm to go to different places.
Yeah.
Hell, I'd honestly get a chuckle if they end up in the Ever After from Ruby Volume 9. Like, they just shrink past it or something.
They just bounce off Ruby's head as she's You know that opening where Ruby's looking all depressed compared to the other characters? Ant-Man and Atom just jump off her head as she's sad walking. I would love that. I suppose we'll wrap this up with our second topic, I guess. Because unless you guys want to add anything else.
I got nothing to add other than this is a really close season opener. And it also keeps DC's streak of being in the season opener alive.
Jesus Christ, man. Damn you, Warner Bros.
It really does. Look back on it. How many seasons in a row have a DC character been in the first fight?
That is true.
Well, there was all those seasons in a row that it was Marvel versus DC.
Warner Bros. Being like, hey, can you put this character in?
Also, the new streak, right now it's 2.
I believe it's been 5 years in a row that DC has been in a season opener of Death Battle.
No, it's not.
Well, I'll put it on screen whether that's the case or not, and then you're both wrong.
The first time
DC
DC was in the season opener was Batman vs. Black Panther. Then Aquaman Namor, Miles versus Static, and then that got broken with Yoda versus King Mickey.
Oh, that's what it was, yeah.
Okay, but I mean, it is still kind of funny.
Interesting to see how it'll go.
Right then. So I suppose we're moving on.